I just have to come your way this morning with one special message that is really boiling in my heart. As I just took the children to school, coming back home, a message just dropped in my spirit about Rahab's story and the issue of Jericho and how God asked Joshua to go take the land. But I just want us to look at Joshua chapter 2 and the two spies that were sent to Jericho to be able to survey the land, then take it over. The role Rahab played. One interesting thing we know about this story, but briefly, in chapter 2 of Joshua, the book of Joshua, verse 9, one interesting thing that Rahab did. You know the life of Rahab. She was a prostitute, and basically you know that she's unworthy. She is unworthy. She is unworthy to even come close to be saved or to be used by God. And one powerful thing she spoke in verse 9 of chapter 2, Joshua chapter 2, verse 9, was that she said to the men, I know the Lord has given you the land. I know the Lord has given you the land. She acknowledged that God has really given the people of Israel the land of Jericho. No matter how fortified they were, she believed and she had heard the stories about how God delivered the people of Israel and saved and destroyed the nations that were before them. And one thing I want us to acknowledge or look at here is you who is feeling unworthy to be used by God, feeling unworthy, thinking you have gone too far. Let Rahab's story inspire you today. And it says that I know. It comes to acknowledging the sovereignty and the supremacy of God in your life. That's one step to getting that redemption. Sovereignty and redemption of God in the life of an individual who thinks he's unworthy. So once you acknowledge the sovereignty of God and the power of God in your life, you are good to go. And let's look at what happened next. She actually recommended and even thought of his father's house. He said, remember me and my father's household. Remember me and my father's household. That's so profound that Rahab was able to understand and acknowledge the supremacy of God too, thinking of his father's household, his mother's household, his family. So Rahab, feeling unworthy to be saved, but God was used by God, acknowledged the supremacy of God, acknowledged that God has power to save him, her, and the family. So supremacy of God was seen to be acknowledged, and then knowing that you can't save yourself. Rahab realized she could not save herself. The next thing was that she remembered her father's household, and knowing that she cannot be saved alone, but rather the entire household. If the entire household is saved, then she's always also free. You are watching me today. There's one word that boils down deep down in my heart, and I want to share with you that one, if you can acknowledge the supremacy of God over your life. Two, if you can realize that You alone can't be saved living out your family. You acknowledge God's supremacy over your household. Say, remember me and my household. You can pray this prayer wherever you are. God, remember me and my household. Remember me and my household. Rahab acknowledged the supremacy of God and the power of God. So you can pray this prayer wherever you are, acknowledging God's supremacy. And another thing was that after the spies left from Jericho, said, oh, promise me that you will remember me and my household. He said, just drop out that red scarlet off your window. That representing that, acknowledge that Jesus is the only Son of God and that through him you can be saved. Rahab remembered this and dropped out that scarlet. Jesus is the answer to your predicament. Jesus is the answer to the world's predicament. So acknowledging that Jesus is the answer to the world's predicament, you can be saved. I just want to come your way with this short message that wherever you are going through any single challenge, if you want to talk about our problems, we can't end this live call. Acknowledge the supremacy of God, the power of God, and then praying for your family to be saved. Father, wherever my friends are, whoever that is watching across the world, across the globe, I pray that they will acknowledge the supremacy of God. Whoever that is feeling unworthy, thinking that she can't be saved, thinking she has gone too far, Father, remember this individual as they acknowledge your supremacy and the power of God over their lives. Thank you for joining me on this live show, and I believe that you'll be blessed. If you're new on this channel, kindly subscribe, like, comment, share your thoughts, and even go back and watch those free movies that I post here on this channel. And that's one way you can easily support this channel. Thank you, and may God bless you. Bye-bye.